All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Saturday morning new distributor training. My name is Fred Holmes. Welcome to my home office. Fortunately, it's pretty big, so I can have all of you join me here in the room this morning. Hope you were enjoying the music interlude as we were getting the broadcast going. I did have one question. Somebody asked, what's the mix? This is actually custom mix. It's called Fred's Beach Reggae. And so if you're interested, I'll give you a chance to get that later perhaps. But welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This morning, what we're going to do is we're going to take a few minutes. I'm going to go over something that was introduced to me some 30 plus years ago. Some of you know the story. Many years ago, I was a cross-country truck driver. I left that profession to get involved in network marketing, not because I didn't love driving trucks. I did love driving trucks. The issue for me at that point in my life was there was something more important, and it was the ability to be able to financially provide for my eldest son as he was entering school age, to have not only the financial resources to meet the needs that he had, but also the time freedom to be involved with him as he was growing up, to be part of that process, not the guy that, worked all the time and only got to see him on the weekends, right? And so when I was first introduced to this profession of network marketing, it really made sense to me. It didn't take a long time to figure it out. I saw a company with good products. I figured, I would use those products. And if I would use the products, I'm sure that some of my friends would. And I could see a vehicle where I could then share those products with my friends and make some money. And then some of my friends would be like me and they'd like to make a little extra money. And so it just kind of made a lot of sense to me. And the real key thing to me was I was able to work with people that had already created what I wanted. Okay, my personal sponsor, my first company 2 years ago, something like that, was already $1 million income earner. And so the two things I figured out is he knew how to do what it was I wanted. I also figured out he wasn't going to make any money from me being my sponsor unless he taught me everything he knew. And so my very first exposure to this, the new distributor training came on a Saturday morning at the little office here in Southern California where the team was working. And what I saw, and I'm going to share this with you because I want you to be able to understand one of the foundational concepts of how to create a successful network marketing business. I saw a system that looked simple. It looked like it would work, and I figured I could do it. And you may want to jot that down in your notes. Looks simple, looks like it'll work. I think that I can do it. Because if what we're doing allows that person that you've introduced to the business, or perhaps it's you, gives them that frame of reference, then they'll engage. And if people get involved, if they do something, then they're going to make some money. Okay, this was the other thing that I was taught. If you do a little bit of this for a while, you'll make some money. If you do a little bit more for a longer period of time, you'll make more money. And here's the best part. If you do enough of this long enough, you could get rich. And so what I've done over the years is I've simply taken that foundational training, the new distributor training. I've tweaked it a little bit here and there for the second company I was with. I went to a second company, had the right timing in terms of allowing me to be ahead of the growth curve, made a fortune in that company. I retired. I retired literally 20 years or more earlier than the average fellow anticipates being able to retire. And when I was introduced to Zija a few years ago, I simply took this little training, again, a couple little tweaks to make it work with Zija, and but the concepts remain the same, and have been able to build a business working from home that has created, not only significant income for me, but for many other people. And so hopefully what I'm sharing with you is encouraging you to do what I did 30 plus years ago with my notebook. I hope you have your journal with you. With my notebook, I went ahead and I wrote down these few little items, and I'm going to share it with you in an outline format. And I encourage you to also do this because you don't have to wait till Saturday morning for you as a new distributor to be the leader of your team. Teach your new people. You can simply read it from your notes. That's what I started doing very early on. And here's a key. If you can take a training that can help people engage in an opportunity that allow them in many cases to create true financial independence, and you can put it on one page, that's a simple duplicatable training. So let's go ahead and get started. Most people, what they really want to know is, what is it that we do and how do we do it? Okay, that's about as simple as you can get. What do we do and how do we do it? So here are the three things that we do. You want to put this down in your notes. Number one, we share our product. That's the foundation of what our enterprise is. It's the movement of products into the marketplace. So we share our products. That's number one. Number two, we share our income opportunity, which many people will look at this as a vehicle for them to create some additional income in their life, perhaps a replacement level of income. Many people would like to have not just the opportunity to have greater financial prosperity, but also control over their life. I heard an interesting comment recently. The fallacy of job security is very simple. When you have a job, one person controls 100% of your income based upon whether or not you're fired or they keep you. And one person controls 100% of your time because you can't leave town for a month unless your boss agrees to it. So there's the fallacy of job security. Now, what do? We share the product, number one. Number two, we share our income opportunity. And then number three, we teach others to do the same. Now, it's real important to understand, if you look at that, that's pretty simple. Three things we do: share the product, share the opportunity, teach others to do the same. But it's also the guideline on how to create income, because if what you're doing in your Zija business today does not involve one of those three things, then you're probably not producing income. Okay, so can be a very helpful concept. Now, that's what we do. How do we do it? This is the fun part. It is so simple. Most people don't get this. Number one, we share our product. How do we share our product? There are three steps. And you want to put this in your notes. Number one, we use the product. Okay, that's critically important part of being successful in sharing our products, is to use our products. That's what we do. If you use the products, then a couple things. You're going to have a story on the products. You're going to be a product of the product. You'll be able to demonstrate the value of the product through your appearance and your energy and what have you. But it allows you to be congruent with what it is that we do. Our business is not a business of a few people doing a lot. In a typical sales situation, the salesperson's taught a lot of product information, closing techniques, prospecting techniques, whatever. In our type of business, our business is a business of the masses or for the masses. It's based upon a lot of people doing a little. And so we don't really get too involved in product knowledge and, sales techniques and closing techniques and what have you, because if you simply use our product, the products that you use, the products that you've been affected by will be the products that you'll share with others. So first step, use a product. Second step, talk to people. That's kind of like, duh, but a lot of people don't get this. You will not sell our product if you are sitting in your house, keeping it secret, drapes closed, and waiting for somebody to bang on your front door and say, hey, you guys got any Zija in there for sale? Okay, you're going to have to talk to people. Now, obviously, there are many ways that you can talk to people, how to generate, the term is leads, people to talk to. I'm going to cover that in a moment. But that's the second component. And then number three, and this is the most important thing on how you share the product. Number three is tell the stories. Tell the stories of yourself, what's happened with you and the product, and the stories of others. The stories are what is going to make you an effective salesperson on the product, not your product knowledge, not your closing skills, not your ability to communicate, your eloquent speech. but your ability to share the stories on what's happened with you and what's happened with others. So, number one, what do? We share our products. How do we do it? We use the product, we talk to people, and we tell the stories. Now, what's the second thing we do in our type of business? We share our income opportunity. So we can develop a network of distributors. Okay, it's, an American free enterprise in its greatest. You can start with one store, but if you want to be really successful, you want to open up 2 or 3 or 4 stores, and that's what our business model is like. The only difference is you do not have to be the only person involved. You don't have to have the capital, the time, and resources to open up multiple locations. I can get a new distributor started in Florida, in New York, in Chicago, and I can expand my business throughout the country, throughout North America, throughout the world, by simply sharing my income opportunity with one more person. So how do we share this income opportunity? You're gonna love this. Do you already have it in your notes? Number one is use the products. If you are using our products, because our products are the foundation of our income opportunity. If we didn't have the quality of products that we have, there would be no opportunity. So be a product of the product. Number two, talk to people. Again, nobody's going to track you down to ask you if you have an income opportunity for them. Okay, you're going to have to talk to people. Number three, tell the stories of your success and the success of others. Now, you'll notice that it's the very same process. How do we share our product? How do we share our opportunity? Use the products, talk to people, tell the stories. Now, if you're looking to expand your distribution network, develop additional distributors, the stories you're going to be telling is going to be stories of, financial success. And be real clear on this. You don't have to be $1 million income earner to have a story. If you understand the nature of our type of business, the vast majority of people that get involved in a network marketing enterprise are looking for a way to make some supplemental income that doesn't require taking huge chunks of their time. An extra $200 or $300 a week, an extra $1,000 a month. 80% of the people that will get involved in network marketing will do so for simply an extra $200 or $300 a week, an extra $1,000 a month. And if you think about it, the average family in America, if they could find a way around their schedule, the kids, the sports, the work situation, family issue, whatever, if they could find a way within their lifestyle to have a way to create an extra $10,000 or $12,000 or $15,000 a year in income from a part-time home-based business, that would change their lives. So you don't need to be talking about millions of dollars, because over 80% of the people will join you if you can show them a way to create that extra $200, $300 a week, an extra $1,000 a month. Now, teaching others to do the same, it's a final component. Folks, I always get this question, okay? Saturday morning new distributor training, Fred, what are you going to teach? The same thing. Oh, same thing as last Saturday? Yes. And so I don't need to go. Of course you need to be here. Think about it for a minute. The person that helps the greatest number of people succeed is the one that makes the most money, depending upon what your goals are. You should be on Saturday morning training or listening to the recorded broadcast until you can do it yourself, right? I mean, that part I figured out real fast. I tell people, I used to be a cross-country truck driver before getting involved in this kind of business. I'm not trying to say I was some kind of, I was just a dumb truck driver and made $1 million. No, I'm a smart guy. I figured out real quick. The people that were sharing the product, doing the correct activities, and helping a lot of others, they're the ones that made the most money. The guy or the gal at the front of the room, or if you will, in this case, the guy or gal that's doing the broadcast, they're the ones making the most money. Why? Because they've demonstrated they know what to do, how to do it, and they've taught a lot of people. So for me, it's a real simple matter, be on Saturday morning training all the time. I'm going to talk a little bit about that when I've concluded the outline for, new distributor training. So we've got those three things: share the product, share the opportunity, and teach others to do the same. How do you do that? Use the products, talk to people, and share the stories of people's success. Okay, now let's break it down a little bit more, because obviously there's a little bit more to it than just that. That's pretty simple. Let's talk about the first component, using the products. I'm going to recommend using all the products all the time. Now, here's the reason why. The products that you personally use will be the products that you will be successful at selling. For instance, a lot of the guys, when I talk about skincare, when I've, earlier in my Zija career, where I had an opportunity to travel more, I'd go out into meetings and that sort of thing, and I'd watch the crowds. I'd start talking about the skincare, and the guys' eyes, the fellas in the room, their eyes just kind of roll back and glaze over, and the women that sit forward and want to hear about the skincare. And and I get it. Guys aren't, it's not macho to be into skincare and that sort of thing. But here's the deal. Okay, I sell a lot of skincare. Why? Because I use the skincare. I have a personal testimonial. I'm personally affected by the product. And so I suggest using all the products all the time. One of the concepts I was taught very early on, and you should probably want to write this in your notes, people communicate with feelings, not with words. You may know all of the ingredients and applications and uses for all the various products. However, that is information. People communicate with feelings. You've heard it before, people don't care what you know until they know how much you care. Okay, it's very interesting that there's a major difference between talking about the ingredients and then actually talking about using. For instance, I use the Sudsy cleanser, the daily cleanser, as my shave cream, and I've got an incredibly close shave. I have absolutely no irritation in my skin. If you're using the product, you'll communicate that through your strong feelings. So, and realistically, let's face it, you may not be able to use all the products all the time when you start. Okay, that's one of the big primary reasons to do a Zija business, is to have additional income so you can get your family on the products, get your friends on the products. Here in my home, we use lots of Zija products. I mean, honestly, I'm not even sure how much we use. I don't want to know how much we use. But, I've got my mom on 2 servings a day of Super Mix. I personally use 2 or 3 servings a day of Super Mix. We use, the plant protein, new protein bars just came out. We've already gone through several of those. The essential oils, the skincare, many of the other supplemental products. We go through a lot of product. And in the beginning, I couldn't necessarily afford to use all that product. So in the beginning, use as much of the products as you can, and then add to them as you can. That's just being reasonable. Now, second thing, talking to people. Obviously, there's more to it. And I guess what I want to share with you is you can approach this as a hobby. And this was something that was taught to me over 30 years ago. If you work this as a hobby, then you're going to create hobby income. If you work it as a professional, as a real business, then you're going to create professional level or business level income, and that kind of makes sense. Professional golfers, some of them make a lot of money for banging around little balls on the golf course during the day, right? Most people are hobbyists, and their hobby doesn't make them money. Okay, they actually pay for the privilege of running around hitting little balls on the golf course. And I'm not being negative about golfers. I don't golf. It just never made a lot of sense to me. I go to the good golf courses when I golf, the ones with the windmills and the dragons and the leprechauns and stuff. But anyway, there's a lot of people golf, okay, and I'm not saying anything wrong with that. But very few people do it as a profession. And if you want professional level income, do it as a profession. So talking with people, the novice or amateur or hobbyist network marketer will think of a few names, they'll call a couple of friends, they'll tell them to buy some product. That's about it. Okay. Here's what the professionals do, and you may want to put this little process down in your notes. Talking with people starts with creating a list, and the list needs to be ink on paper. I encourage you to get a notebook, get a journal, something that'll be quasi-permanent, and then use a tool. The tool I recommend is called a memory jogger. Now, memory jogger, it's a paper and pencil tool. It's the kind of thing, it's a list of, maybe 100, 150, 200 different types of people that everyone knows. I mean, everybody knows a babysitter or knows somebody who knows a babysitter. There's an example. I don't have children, I don't have a babysitter, but you know what? My neighbors have children, and I'll bet you buck they got babysitters. So it's just a way to generate, well, what the name of the tool is, a memory jogger. Now, I encourage you to get a memory jogger. You can find them on the internet, or, I'm looking at the group of people here, a lot of new people. Many of you have very, very successful, active, engaged upline diamonds. They've got a memory jogger for you. I've got a memory jogger. Reach out to me. I'll send you the one I use, okay? They're easy to get. Now, the process is to use that memory jogger to create a list of potential candidates to speak to for your product or speak to about your income opportunity. Most often, the average, novice network just getting started, will say something like, I really don't know a lot of people. Their list might have 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 people because they're thinking about the handfuls of people that they engage with on a daily basis. We already know statistically, the average person, once you hit somewhere around, your mid to late 20s, early 30s, minimum 200 to 300 people by name. Now, the question is, can you get all those names, out of your memory and put them on paper? The process is fairly simple, and if you do it, it'll work. This is the key. If you do it, it will work. I encourage you to, go. I've done trainings on this. You can go to my YouTube channel. It's www.youtube.com/Fred Holmes Zija. Okay, go there, search those archives. I've got several little videos. One of them is called The List. Okay, how to create the list. And I think it's 8 or 10 minutes long, but it'll give you a great example of how a professional builds a prospect list. So go and listen to that. That'll be very helpful to you. Was working with a young man, Mitch, here just this past week. He sat down with the memory jogger. I believe he was upwards of 80 some odd people the first go around, and then a couple days later when we re-engaged to talk about the list, I think he was upwards of over 100. Mitch's mother, Lori, is also involved in the business. I don't want to exaggerate, but I think she said somewhere in the neighborhood of like 180 some odd people was her potential prospect list, potential customers, potential distributors. Now, you see how powerful that is? If you do it like a professional, use the correct tools, approach it the right way, how much of a difference it makes to have 50 or 100 or 150 people to talk to versus 2 or 5 or 10. So enough said on that. Use the memory jogger, and then the actual talking to people. Real simple. There is a system. The system works, and if you follow the system, you will get results. I don't know how to make it any more clear than that. Here's what I call the good news, bad news. Good news is we have a simple system. It really works. Bad news is we have a simple system. If you get a little bit too far right or left of center, it doesn't work. So that's a little good news, bad news kind of thing going on there. And so here's your system. 3 steps. Starting to notice a pattern here. Everything is 3. See, this was something that made a lot of sense to me. Most people can do 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Isn't that a waltz? Let's call it the Zija dance. Actually, full disclosure, very, very good friend of mine listened in on a Saturday morning new distributor training recently. As a young man I met, 25 years ago maybe, in Canada. He just turned 21, got involved with the company I was with, and became a six-figure annual income earner. Pete's never been in a job since then. He's been a professional in network marketing, dear friend of mine, and he listened in, and he said, you can call this the Zija dance, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I loved it. I thought it was really cool, the Zija dance. So anyway, 3 steps to the system of talking to people. Number 1 is the invitation. Put it in your notes. This is what you do. Invite somebody to take a look at your products. Invite somebody to take a look at your income opportunity. And I talk a little bit about that on some of those other trainings. It's beyond the scope of today, but the key point is to invite people to look at your product or to look at your income opportunity based on something that's meaningful to them. Okay? If you've been talking with a friend, perhaps they've been sharing with you, the doctor's concerned about the weight they've been gaining, talking about, maybe having to put them on cholesterol medication or, diabetes medication or whatever. Talk to them about an opportunity to create better health, lose some weight naturally, healthy. It's meaningful to them. It's something they're interested in. Always frame up your invitation in a format that is meaningful to the individual. Okay? Now, you do the invitation. Now, if you do this, correctly, you're going to have people saying, well, I might be interested in that. Tell me all about it. Maybe you're talking to somebody that, young couple, married, got their first kid, second kid's on the way. Maybe you're talking with the gal. She's going, geez, I just hate not being able to be there to raise the kids. We need to have both jobs. I wish there was some way we could afford to, have Bob, work and let me stay home and raise the kids. What a golden opportunity to talk to them about a way where you can create replacement level income working from home and have time freedom. Would that be something that you'd be interested in looking at? Now, what's Mary going to say? She's going to say, sure, right? So what you're looking for is an invitation that causes people to say, yes, I'd like to look. The novice network marketer says, hey, you need to use this product. You can lose weight. You can feel better. Hey, you need to get involved in this business. You can make money. Mary can stay home, raise the kids. I'm not going to tell somebody they need to hear my information. I want to frame up an invitation where they're saying to me, let me hear about it. Please tell me. So that's what I'm looking for. Now, the novice network marketer, when they hear something like, yeah, tell me about it, they start telling everything they know. Okay, they just start, throwing up all over their, moringa, 92 verifiable ingredients, Ken Brailsford Company, you can make millions. Folks, that's the second step, is the presentation, and you need to put this in your notes. You don't do that. Okay, step 1 in talking to people is the invitation. You do that. Step 2 is the presentation. You don't do that. You use tools to do that. And there's many tools. If you're not subscribed to Zija International's official YouTube channel, you need to be. They've been sending me messages every single day about new product calls that they've got on their YouTube channel. What a great way to give information about the products. When it comes to the income opportunity, we've got tremendous tools available to you. There's many people out there that there's videos, there's online videos, DVDs, CDs. Some areas you're in, you may have local meetings you can bring people to meet people that can document that they're making money, share the income opportunity. I do, in conjunction with Pat Anderson, a Thursday night webinar broadcast sharing the information about the business, having a guest speaker to talk about their involvement. But step 2 is the presentation. Make a note, you don't do that. You let the tools do that. Now, let me explain why it's so important that you not be the one that does the talking. 2 reasons. Number 1, you're either going to be too good at giving the presentation, or number 2, you're going to be too bad. See, if you're too good, You do a great job of talking about the Ken Brailsford story, you know, the timing, the infrastructure, what have you, the industry of network marketing. You may be very effective at giving a presentation that causes people to want to get involved, but this is what's going to happen for most of your prospects. They're going to go, wow, this looks so good. You know, I really would like to do this, but I'll never be as good as she was or he was at sharing the story. Okay. And so you can be too good. Now, here's the other alternative. You're going to be too bad. You're going to share the information. It's not going to make any sense. You're not going to communicate the, you know, the potential, you know, of what we got, and people will not join. This is why you do step one, which is the invitation. Step two is the presentation. Let the tools do that. And then the third step is the validation. Those are the three steps to effectively talking to people: invitation, presentation, validation. Now, the third step of validation, what that means is have somebody besides you validating the value of the product, or you know, validating the potential of the income opportunity. And it has to be somebody else. Okay, you have to work with somebody else. Now, to the brand new person, that makes sense. If you just started in Zija today and you're talking to somebody about creating an income stream, maybe that extra $200 or $300 a week that the average person in America would think they died and gone to heaven if they could have extra income like that. Or maybe you're talking to somebody about creating a full-time income, making $40, $50, $60, $80,000 a year from a home-based business that gives you time, freedom, and flexibility. Or maybe even going beyond that. If you're talking to people about that as a brand new person, understand that it is a theory that the opportunity works. If you work with somebody that can document that through their own story, it no longer is a theory, it's a fact. You want people to join your business and get involved, you make sure they're talking to your upline that have a story. If you'd like to have people say, well, it sounds really good, keep in touch with me and let me know how you do. If that's the response you want, then you simply do not use your upline, okay? Because if you do correct invitation, you use good tools, they're going to say, this looks good. Tell me, you know, keep in touch with me. Let me know how you're doing. Because until you can document that it works, you're going to have to use somebody else's story. So 3 steps to effectively talking to people. Number 1, invitation. Number 2, presentation. Number 3, validation. And if you will, the most important step is number 3. Now, in closing, I want to give you 2 little things that was shared with me that very first Saturday morning, 32 years ago. And this has been very, very helpful to me. What I've been sharing with you so far, this is pretty generic, and it falls under this concept of concepts versus techniques. And you should write this in your notes: concepts versus techniques. And see, concepts, concepts are things that stay constant over time. Correct concepts, they're valid universally. All right, concepts are what I teach. I teach the concepts. I don't get too heavily involved in techniques. Techniques, they will vary over time, over circumstances, you know, based on technology, individuals, geography, what have you, but concepts remain constant. And so this is why you're not going to hear me doing an awful lot of, you know, specific details about things, because quite frankly, concepts can be universally duplicated by everyone. Techniques cannot. Here's the problem. Everybody wants the technique. See, everybody wants to know, you know, where do I go? Who do I talk to? What do I say? What do I do? You know, everybody wants to know exactly what you say to people. All right. The problem with this is techniques are not duplicatable by the masses. Concepts are. And so my focus has always been to teach the concepts. There's a lot of people out there in the industry today that make money selling you their lead generation system, their prospecting system, what have you. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, and I, please don't think I'm bragging. I've created a lot of money in my Zija business in the last 9 years. By the third year with Zija, my income put me in the top 1% of income earners in the country. And it has been a passive residual income that has exceeded that for the following 6 years. Okay, I have never once invested in a lead generating system. Okay, you can if you want, but I'm going to tell you, you don't need to. And if you understand this principle of learning the concepts. Now, that being said, does everybody do techniques? Does everybody have a technique that's working for them? Sure, I use different techniques. I'm sure you do too. Any of you, I'm looking at the list of people that are here. There's a number of our top income earners are part of this training today. That should be a clue, by the way. They have certain tactics. Everybody has a technique that they like to use. I'm just suggesting you don't teach it. Teach the concepts, because the minute you start getting so specific about a particular technique, I guarantee you will be excluding somebody from your business that could have been a Fred Holmes. It could have been an Ann Dom or a D.D. Shaw. Don't, and you wouldn't want to exclude any of them, right? Trust me, I know, because I override on those folks. You wouldn't want to exclude any of them. So focus on teaching concepts, not techniques. Second thing I'm going to share with you is going to be very helpful to you. It's a principle that I've actually used in many areas of my life. You write the principle in your notes: 90% opinion, 10% fact. 90% opinion, 10% fact. See, so often people get, and people that make money teaching you how to deal with, objections. And when they say this, you say that, and then they say this, and you say that. Okay, again, concepts. Here's the concept. Everybody is an expert on everything. Okay, what do? We share a product, we share an income opportunity. Okay, from a product perspective, everybody eats food, and so therefore everybody is an expert on nutrition. Here's the problem. 90% of their knowledge is their opinion. Only 10% of it's actually based on fact. Now, the challenge you've got with that is if you try to overcome objections, if you try to, address, concerns that you already know are flying in the face of their belief system, you're never going to win. Remember, most people's knowledge is based about 10% on fact and 90% on their opinion. Let me give you an example. If you just eat healthy, you don't need any of that, swamp water. Well, remember, 90% opinion, 10% fact. Okay, 10% fact. Yes, if you have a healthy diet, that's going to help you a lot. 90% their opinion, it's based on a small percentage of fact. Now, you can tell them, well, you're an idiot. You're crazy. American diet, and you can start going, today there's only 80% of the calcium and 73% of the niacin and available in the American diet because of over-mechanized farming, blah, 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 blah. You're not going to convince somebody that they're wrong and you're right with facts. Why? Because only 10% of their knowledge is based on facts. 90% is based on their opinion. So, since you know you're not going to overcome those objections that way, here's a little technique, and yes, it is a technique, that I was taught many years ago. Okay, it's real simple. You can put this in your notes. Your response, instead of saying, well, you're crazy and you need this, how about this one? Here's your response. I don't know about that. All I know is a testimonial, a story. I don't know about that. All I know is. Okay, so, as long as you eat a healthy diet, you don't need all that, skinny powder and vitamin juice, all right? I don't know about that. All I know is I've always eaten healthy, and once I started using Zija, I've now lost over 35 pounds and I feel better than I felt in the last 30 years. I don't know about that. All I know is, my friend Anthea, she had, tremendous pain from a lot of medical issues, and she started using, what you call the swamp water, and she's now, in a lot better shape, feels a lot better. Her doctors are amazed, taking her off of most of her medication. I don't know about that. All I know is a story. Because, see, you are absolutely not guaranteed to not win dealing with an objection, trying to reinforce your thought process based on facts. But you know what? People can't argue with the story, because the story is the story. You can't argue with the fact that I'm now 35 pounds lighter than I was the day I started Zija, because I've been drinking Zija. Can't argue with that. Okay? So 90% opinion, 10% fact. Let me give you one more and then I want to move on. From a business perspective, you ever heard of this one? Those network marketing things, that's a pyramid. Those things don't work. Nobody ever makes any money. Or the one I really like is, network marketing. That's that deal where only the people at the top make the big money, right? You can go all into, how network marketing is simply an extension of the real estate profession, the insurance profession. It's almost what is $168 billion industry, worldwide last year. It's bigger than the NFL. You can go on through all the facts. As long as you remember, most people's knowledge is based on 10% fact. You're never going to convince them based on facts. So again, I don't know about that. All I know is a testimonial. Network marketing that's work. Well, I don't know about that. But all I know is I'm working with a guy named Fred Holmes. He's a nice guy, stays at home, cares for his elderly mother, does this part-time. He's made millions. Millions. I don't know about that. Only the people at the top make the big money. I don't know about that. All I know is I'm working with a gal, Dee Dee Shaw. She's a stay-at-home mom, homeschools her kids, and she's been able to create a 6-figure income with this. I don't know about that. Only people that have done this before, only those guys that, got millions of people in their organization make the big money. I don't know about that. All I know is I'm working with Amy McKenzie. She was a single mom, never been involved in this kind of thing. Today, she's put her daughter through, the most expensive private school college in America, and drives a Mercedes paid for by the company. I don't know about that. All I know is a testimonial. So what you have, if you've been taking notes, is the outline of the new distributor training. And it shares the concepts that every new distributor needs to understand. Keep it simple, because simple is duplicatable. Break it down. What do? Share the product, share the income opportunity, teach others to do the same. How do we do that? We use our products, we talk to people, and we share the stories of other people's results and ours. We share the stories of people's, the health benefits they've had, the weight loss they've had, or personal benefits, and the same thing with the income opportunity. Now, in closing, because I got a few more minutes here for my allotted time, I want to cover 2 topics. And for those of you that are regular attendees here, 2 weeks ago on Saturday, week before last, at the conclusion of the new distributor training, I took the opportunity to share another training. And the other training was on daily method of operation and how important that is. And folks, I got to tell you, okay, if you do that, you will succeed. Okay, it is inevitable that if you are regularly engaging in correct activities, that you're going to be able to be successful. Now, recently, I was spending some time talking with a couple of distributors, and it prompted me to take a few minutes today and talk a little bit about these 2 concepts here. And if you're taking notes, I want you to write down engagement and congruence. Engagement and congruence. Engagement. This is being plugged in. A lot of people, that's what they call it. Get plugged in, plugged in. I mean, how many of you have heard that? A brand new person, get them plugged in, get them plugged in. Now, engagement, in the old days, okay, originally, when I started back in the mid-'80s, it was easy to see who was engaged and who was not, okay? The people who were actively engaged in building the business, they were at the meetings, because that's how we did it. We didn't have video conferencing, we didn't have the internet, we didn't have computers, email, all those kinds of things. The way you shared the story was either one-on-one or most often at a meeting. We did, we could share the income opportunity and the product testimonials, Tuesday night meeting, Thursday night meeting, and then Saturday morning meeting. And then on Saturday morning following the meeting, we did new distributor training. That's why it's called Saturday morning new distributor training. And then we go out, and put the list together with a new person. We go invite people, get them to the Tuesday meeting, and then those people could then invite people and bring them to the Thursday meeting. Then we all come to the Saturday morning meeting, and those were usually pretty big because most people could get there on Saturday morning, and then everybody got trained and we go and do it again. That's how we did the business back then. It's easy to see who's engaged. Today it's a little bit different, okay? We don't really have a lot of meetings like that. We're doing online broadcasts and what have you. So plugging into the system, this is what I suggest. And it doesn't, and I'm going to give you, I suggest, my team, I encourage them to get their new people plugged into me. And there's a little checklist, first of all, go to Facebook. I've got 2 pages on Facebook. Got a personal page, so go friend me. And then I got a business page, go like my business page. Now, other than feeding my ego that I got lots of likes, what's the purpose? Because if your new person has done that, they're going to start getting in their feed a lot of the information I'm putting out into the field in terms of, training, inspiration, motivation, what have you. Okay, they're going to start getting more and more of that in their feed. I tell people, go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. Why? Because once they subscribe to the YouTube channel, they're going to get an email pointing out I posted a new training, a new broadcast, what have you. Get people plugged into the system of events. David Moses has his own newsletter. He does the Millionaires in Training on Monday nights. Last week was, or this past Monday, he had Todd Falcone. Todd Falcone is the real deal. I'm telling you what, I listened to that 2 or 3 times now because I was taking notes. You understand that I've been there and done that, and I'm still getting notes. So what makes you think that you wouldn't, right? Wednesday night, Pat Anderson, Health Talks with Pat. Okay, the broadcast, get people plugged into that, get them plugged into the Thursday night, get them plugged into Saturday. Go to my website, fredholmes.com, enroll in my newsletter. Why would you want your new person enrolled in my newsletter? So they can get periodic, emails about upcoming events and promotions and what have you. Getting people, plugged in to the system is your responsibility as a distributor. Get them plugged in. Now, the engagement component, are they actively doing these deals? That part you're not accountable for, okay, with one exception. Are you engaged? Okay, this is hilarious, all right? Can't get any of my people to get on the Wednesday night, Health Talks with Pat broadcast. Really? Were you on it? No. How do you expect your people to well, actually, you do. As a leader, if you are not engaged, if you're not doing the deal, guess what? Your people will follow you exactly to the letter. And so engagement is following through. Now, you're responsible for making sure they're plugged in, getting them the information. I've got a new guy enrolled, says he wants to do the deal, always very positive when I talk with him, but I told him a month ago to do those handful of things. You know, you're personally enrolled by me. I want you plugged into what I'm doing. Go to my website, sign up for my newsletter so you get that. Go to Facebook, like me and friend me. Go to a YouTube channel, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Why do I want him to do all those things? Because the information that I'm pushing out into the field, it's going to start showing up in his, email inbox, his, Facebook feed and that sort of thing. Hasn't done any of that. See, I'm not responsible for what somebody else does, but I am responsible for what did I provide for them in leadership. Now, that's engagement. Okay, you start with getting people plugged in, making sure they know what the resources are, and then leading by example. And then all you're really looking for is the people that are going to follow. They're going to do the deal. Second thing I want to talk about is congruence. And this directly applies to every single member of Zija, whether you're a top income earner or whether you're, an up-and-coming leader, you've hit silver, gold, platinum, whatever, or you're a brand new distributor just getting started. Congruence. Are you congruent with what your goals are, what you've said you want to do? See, I work with people that tell me things like, it's critical that we replace our current income. It's unlikely that my husband will work for more than another year. He's gonna be laid off, or maybe he's getting old or whatever, or I want to retire my husband. He wants to have more free time to spend with the kids, or whatever. The single dad that wants to be able to have a higher level of income to provide for his son and the ability to be there more often for him, okay? Whatever it is that people desire, I guarantee you, there's already people in Zija who have had the same challenges, the same desires, and they've overcome those, and they're successful, okay? Amy McKenzie, I got to tell you, I keep using her because she, one, personal enrollee of mine, okay? I mean, I know her story because I worked with her. But it's a story that's so similar to so many other people. Single mom, she has struggled. She shared some of the struggles growing up, raising her daughter, and she's overcome some significant challenges. But how many single moms out there would like to be able to provide for their children? I'm sure, they love their children as much as Amy loves her daughter, Valia. Here's what the question is. Who's doing the deal? See, being congruent with your expressed desires is a real question, and I'm trying to find a way to be polite about this. If you say you really, really are serious about creating the income that allow your husband to leave his job and be more present with the family, if you're really serious about taking care of your child or your children, having more time with them, if you're really serious about giving to the community, providing income for your favorite cause, or setting up if you're really serious about it, are your activities, is your engagement congruent with your desire? Congruence means that they are coming together. If you say you're serious about building a Zija business, but you've never, here's the one I love. Saturday morning training, when is that? Well, it's on my email. Okay, it's I don't promote this through social media, but it's on an email to all my team members. Okay, my group text list. Hearing somebody say something like that, just it's amazing to me. How serious were you when you said you wanted this, yet your behaviors are not congruent with the activities that create the success? Engagement is part of it. You have to be engaged. Part of the responsibility for you as distributors is to get your people plugged in. Okay, they need to know this, how to get plugged in. And I just shared the things for me. There's lots of very successful people in Zija. I'm very pleased to say many of those people are part of my organization. Doesn't mean you have to be plugged into me personally, but are you plugged into Pat Anderson? Are you plugged into Amy McKenzie, Dee Dee Shaw, Doug Stroop? I mean, all of these people that have their resources in place for their team. Are your new people, do they know what to do to be plugged in? Okay, then look for the actual engagement. Are they showing up? Are they there? Now, second part is congruence. For you as an individual, whether you're a top flight leader, if you're already, a six-figure income earner and you want to go to the next level, are you doing the activities that are congruent with getting the results you want? If you're a mid-level leader, silver, gold, emerald, platinum, whatever, are you doing the activities that are congruent with going to the higher level? And if you're a brand new person, real simple, are you doing the activities that are going to get you the results that you said you wanted to get? All right. And I'm not trying to say that I'm the end all when it comes to this profession, because I'm certainly not. I know great network marketers. I'm not one of them. I'm just the guy that wanted it bad enough that I did what was necessary long enough to get it. But I remember back a million years ago, when I was a much younger man, if my sponsor called and I was just about to sit down to eat dinner, my dinner got cold, because I was not going to lose the opportunity to spend a few minutes on the phone with my sponsor. When my sponsor called and left a message, got some information, Fred, give me a shout back. As soon as I got that message, I called. Okay, I was not going to lose that opportunity. Are you the person that's waiting for your upline to call you? Or are you the person that's reaching out to your active, engaged upline to get the support, to get the help you need? And all I can tell you is that no matter who you are, where you are in Zija land, there is somebody, in the upline genealogy that is desires to help you build your success. Okay, don't tell me, oh, my sponsor, never returned my call, or they're not doing anything. So what? When I first started in Zija, the guy that enrolled me was in and out in 60 days. I didn't give up. Actually, David Moses called me and said, don't worry about that. I'll work with you directly. I wasn't worried. Okay, I knew David's phone number. I need him, I'm going to call him. All right, so that might have been a little bit tough for some people, but you know what? Nothing wrong with telling people like it is. If you want to do the deal, if you want to be successful, everything you need is available here in Zija International, whether it be company, product, timing, or the support of the upline. It's all here for you. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. Boom, look at that. Finished right on time, right at the top of the hour. Man, were you just about as impressed with me as I was right now? That's pretty good timing. So we'll wrap it up. David Moses, Monday night, Millionaires in Training. Wednesday night, Pat Anderson, Health Talks with Pat. Thursday night, Biz Talks with Fred. Next Saturday, Fast Start Training. New Distributor Training. And I guarantee you I will add some other training into next Saturday as well. With that, signing off. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for joining me. Look forward to seeing you all at the convention. Take care. Bye-bye. Let's see here. Oh, very good. Thank you for the kudos. Bye-bye.